Elden Ring Bosses. You love them, you hate them, you rage at them, but you can't stop trying to go and slay them all. Some of them are pretty awesome looking, and some of them are very, very weird. Here are some of the weirdest looking bosses in Elden Ring. Astel, Naturalborn of the Void. Other than the Elden Beast itself, Astel might be the most majestic looking boss fight in Elden Ring. From the skybox, to the particle effects, to the vibrant colors when it attacks, this boss will have you in awe while also running for your life. But we're not here for majestic, we are here for weird. And Astel has got plenty of weird. Looking like a demonic mayfly with the legs of a malnourished spider, this boss is strange. One of our favorite things about the way it looks is how the tail and body looks as if it's holding the life of an entire galaxy, while its legs and head look completely dead. It's an amazing contrast that we do believe deserves some credit. Now, the moves on this boss are amazing, but also terrifying, but also amazing, hitting you with a wide range of attacks from close range to long range to really keep you on your toes. It will try to summon up a purple beam of energy, which looks incredible with the galactic skybox in this boss fight, or it will try to fly around and swoop in when you aren't expecting. Royal Revenant. Okay, this one looks like it crawled out of the TV and straight into our nightmares. The amalgamation of a human and a spider, and like you would imagine, it isn't pretty. Not one bit. Just the way it moves will have your skin crawling, constantly disappearing and reappearing right in your face so you can get an extra close-up of how horrifying this boss really is. Sinking into the floor and emerging out of it just to throw up poison all over you. This boss looks like it needs a chiropractor and a dentist appointment ASAP. God-Devouring Serpent. The name of this boss should really tell you a lot already. It's not just a serpent, but a God-Devouring Serpent. Oh yeah, it also has arms, because why not, I guess. And it relaxes in a pool of molten magma while you battle it in what looks like the depths of hell itself. Snakes and serpents are already inherently weird and creepy looking, but this one really manages to turn it up to 10. Having bloody appendages sticking out from its body, more than likely the Tarnished that came before you, and then a sinister, slithering tongue that is guarded by razor-sharp teeth. Phase 1 of this boss fight is pretty simple, in theory anyways. You really just need to keep an eye on the head of the serpent and try not to let it eat you. Easier said than done sometimes though, because it is quick and the timings on avoiding it are awkward. Phase 2 is where things get real strange. All of a sudden, this sentient serpent has a face and wants to have a conversation with you. It then pulls out a sword. I'll be honest with you, I do not want to know where he's been keeping that, but now it makes sense why it has arms. The God-Devouring Serpent is now Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy, and its attacks are quick and violent. Godskin Noble. An enemy that weighs as much as a semi-truck, but also has the jousting skills of a world-class fencer. The Godskin Noble is going to be a formidable opponent. Why this boss is on the list, like most of them, is very obvious from the moment you lay eyes on them. A large, girthy enemy that uses that size to its advantage when it tries to roll over you or body slam you. That's a lot of pressure for our tarnished skeletons to withstand. At some point in the fight, you'll also realize that it has some kind of lizard tail, which really makes us wonder what kind of weirdness that outfit is holding in. Ulcerated Tree Spirit. A corrupted and deformed tree boss, the Ulcerated Tree Spirit is just nasty. From the ulcers and open sores to the bark-like texture of its skin, it just gives you a strange feeling when you see it. Since it is a tree, it makes perfect sense that it would be weak to fire damage, right? But then it'll grab a hold of you in its jaws and breathe fire on you, or self-combust, sending flames everywhere without damaging itself. And that, truthfully, really made us scratch our head a little bit. Deathbird. This long, lanky bird isn't the toughest opponent, but it definitely earned its spot on the list with the way it looks. The broken, empty skull with the hollow eye sockets really make you feel like it's staring into your soul. Then you've got the bare-bone body and the withered wings to really round out this boss as just being weird. Full-grown Fallingstar Beast. Our personal favorite for aesthetics in a boss fight. Fighting in a glowing crater high above the ground with the Erdtree glowing in the background is phenomenal. Then add on to that the purple lightning and effects that happen when the full-grown Fallingstar Beast attacks, and it's just aesthetically amazing. Now what makes it weird is the boss itself, looking like a bull had relations with a scorpion, and this is the messed up spawn of those actions. Dragonskin, Soldier of Nokstella. Most bosses in Elden Ring tower over you in size. The Dragonskin, Soldier of Nokstella is no different, and while fighting a ginormous creature with the body of an undead human and a head of a dragon that crawls at you everywhere because of its withered wings sounds weird, it's also really, really cool. Except when it does that whole lightning strike and fly at you thing. That can be a bit... Who are we kidding? That's pretty awesome too. Erdtree Burial Watchdog. Are you a dog or a cat person? Depending on how you answer might affect how you feel about this next boss, the Erdtree Burial Watchdog, which, since this is weirdest bosses, we do want to point out how it has Watchdog in its name, but to us, it definitely looks more of the feline variety. It's a real conundrum. This boss looks to be made out of stone and has some of the weirdest movements in the game. Its head can rotate a full 360 degrees around its body. Its limbs and torso all move in a mechanical fashion, very robot-like, having no fluidity to its movements, but when it moves across the boss arena, it looks as if it's a puzzle piece being pushed towards you to ruin your game. The way this boss looks and fights is strange, with very awkward timings, and considering you can run across this boss early on, it can give you some real trouble. Godrick the Grafted. The first main boss in the game. I know a lot of people think Margit is your first real test and mandatory boss, but Margit is actually an optional boss fight. Godrick the Grafted is not, which means you have absolutely no choice but to combat the weirdness, and let me tell you, it gets weird. A boss that's head is nowhere near proportionate to its body, with multiple limbs sticking out from his back that you can't help but stare at and make it incredibly uncomfortable for both of you. Godrick's main weapon is the Axe of Godrick, which seems pretty fitting, doesn't it? And this axe will be your main concern in phase 1 of this fight. Sweeping attacks, overhead attacks, whirlwind attacks, Godrick has got it all in his arsenal. Outside of appearance, there isn't anything too strange about phase 1 of your fight with Godrick. The same cannot be said for phase 2, because only in Elden Ring can he cut off one of his arms, stick it inside a dragon carcass, and then attach and pull out the dragon as part of his body, and then use that dragon carcass to spew flames at you for the entirety of phase 2. It will take massive amounts of concentration to defeat Godrick, and less that is, you've got some summons to take his attention away and use that oh so powerful magic to whittle away his health until it's all gone. So there you have it, some of the weirdest looking bosses in all of Elden Ring, and I think we can all agree after watching this that some of them are just unbelievably weird. If there's any bosses that you thought should have been on this list that we missed, make sure to let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed and want to see future videos, consider liking and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.